You've seen this website 1,000 times. Enter for every piece of text. A purple to blue gradient somewhere near the top. Cards nested inside cards. Gray text sitting on a colored background. And above every single heading, that same little rounded square icon tile. You've seen it because your AI built it. And it built the same one for everybody. Here's the uncomfortable truth about AI-generated interfaces in 2026. The code works, the layout is fine, nothing is broken, and it still looks cheap, instantly recognizably machine-made. There's even a name for it now, AI slop. And most people assume that's just the ceiling. That taste is the thing models can't do. It isn't. It's a vocabulary problem. And this week, one repository sitting at roughly 50,000 stars is quietly fixing it, for free, under Apache 2.0. In the next few minutes, why every AI builds the same ugly page, what Impeccable actually is, the 24 specific tells it can detect, including a linter that works with no AI at all, the 23 commands that give you a shared design vocabulary with your agent, the genuinely clever thing it does before writing any code, how it installs across every major coding agent, and the honest limits. Let's get into it. Start with the diagnosis. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Why does every AI-generated interface converge on the same look? The repository's own explanation is the cleanest I've read. Every model was trained on the same SAS templates. Think about what the training data for modern web design actually is. A decade of startup landing pages, dashboard screenshots, component library documentation, and design system showcases. Overwhelmingly, they share a house style. So when you ask a model to make it look modern, it isn't inventing anything. It's regressing to the mean of everything it has ever seen. And the mean of modern web design is enter, a gradient, and a stack of rounded cards. That's why the output isn't wrong, it's average. Statistically aggressively average, and average in design reads as cheap. Now here's the insight that makes the fix possible. Skip the guidance and you get the same handful of tells on every project, which means those tells are a finite nameable list. If you can name them, you can detect them. And if you can detect them, you can tell your agent to avoid them. The problem was never that models can't do taste. It's that nobody gave them the vocabulary to talk about it. So what is Impeccable? 3 things in one package, and they stack. At its core, it's a skill, the exact format we covered on this channel recently. A folder with instructions your coding agent picks up and follows, which means if you understand skills, you already understand the delivery mechanism here. Underneath that skill sit 7 domain reference files: typography, color, motion, spatial, interaction, responsive, and UX writing that load on every command. So your agent isn't guessing about line height or easing curves, it has a reference to consult. And on top, there's a brand versus product register that shifts the defaults depending on whether you're building an expressive marketing page or a restrained product interface, which is a distinction most AI output completely ignores. Second, 23 commands, a shared design vocabulary you and your agent both speak. Polish, audit, critique, distill, animate, bolder, quieter. Think about how much better that is than typing make it look better. You're no longer hoping the model interprets a vague wish. You're issuing a specific instruction from an agreed dictionary. Bolder means something concrete now, so does quieter. And third, my favorite part. There's a standalone command line detector that needs no AI at all. You run npx impeccable detect, point it at a directory, an HTML file, or even a live URL, and it scans for problems. No agent, no API key, no tokens. Just a linter for design. Let's talk about what that detector actually catches, because this is the most concrete thing in the entire project. 24 issues split across 2 categories. The first category is pure AI slop. The machine tells side tab borders, purple gradients, bounce easing on animations, dark glows. If you've ever looked at an AI-built page and thought something about this screams generated, without being able to say, what? That's the list. Those are the fingerprints. The second category is general design quality, and it's the part that will improve your work whether or not an AI touched it. Line length, because text that runs too wide is genuinely harder to read. Cramped padding, touch targets that are too small, which is an accessibility problem, not a taste one. Skipped heading levels, which breaks screen readers and document structure. These aren't opinions, they're the boring, measurable fundamentals that separate professional work from amateur work, and most people have simply never had them checked automatically. That's the part I'd emphasize if you take nothing else from this video. You can run a design linter on your project in about 30 seconds, with no AI involved, and get a concrete list of what's wrong. We've had linters for code style for 20 years. Having one for design is quietly overdue. Now the clever part. What Impeccable does before any code gets written. Most AI design workflows go straight to output. You ask, it builds, you squint at it, you ask again. Impeccable inserts a decision step, and the reasoning behind it is genuinely smart. In an attended session, it opens a decision page in your browser, one assigned direction leading, with alternates shown alongside. And here's the line from the project that stuck with me. It presents one committed direction rather than a ranked menu because a lineup invites the safest card. Sit with that for a second because it's a real observation about how humans choose. Give someone 5 options and they pick the least objectionable one, the safe middle. That's how you end up with the average again, just by a different route. Committing to a direction and letting you re-roll is a better mechanic than presenting a menu, because it forces an actual decision instead of a compromise. You can re-roll freely, the agent can only re-roll on named factual grounds, and a direction you pin always wins. The human keeps authority, the machine has to justify itself. Then it renders that direction as a design system board and a first surface mock before the build and corrects the build against it afterward. You see it before it exists, and there's a nice touch for people whose agent has no native image generation. You can set your own image model API key, and it renders through that instead, and it tells you up front that it will bill your key before it generates the first image. Small thing, very honest thing. There's one more mechanic worth naming, because it's a genuinely good idea you could steal even if you never install this. Before writing code, the agent writes a short contract into the top of the artifact, a 5-block statement, capped at about 150 words. The thesis, the world it lives in, the story, the first viewport, and so on. Then the build gets checked against that stated intent. It's the design equivalent of writing the test first. State what you're trying to do, then verify you did it, rather than producing something and retroactively deciding it was the plan. Installation and reach. And this is where it connects to a bigger trend. Impeccable installs across essentially every major coding agent. Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, GitHub Copilot, Grok, and others. And look at where it installs. Repo local skills go in a .agents/skills folder. User-wide ones in the same path in your home directory. Copilot uses its own .github location. That .agents directory is the convergence we flagged when we covered skills, the pattern outgrowing any single vendor and becoming a general standard for agent instructions. Impeccable is one of the clearest examples in the wild. One skill written once that upgrades whichever agent you happen to be using. Write the procedure once, use it everywhere. That's the whole promise of the format, actually working. There's also a hook system. You can have the detector run automatically after your agent edits UI files. So finding surface as reminders without you asking, which is the right shape for this kind of tool. Not something you remember to run, something that's just on. Okay, the honest limits, 4 of them. 1. This is guidance, not talent. Impeccable gives your agent vocabulary, references, and a list of things to avoid. It does not give it a point of view. If your brief is bland, the output will be competent and bland better than slop, but not memorable. Taste still starts with you having something to say. 2. The detector is rule-based, so it's precise about the things it knows and blind to the things it doesn't. It'll catch a purple gradient and a cramped touch target. It will not tell you your information architecture is confusing or that your product's core interaction is wrong. Treat it like a linter, because that's exactly what it is. Linters catch typos, not bad ideas. 3. It's opinionated, and that's the point, but it's worth saying out loud. The anti-patterns encode one team's judgment about what looks cheap. Mostly that judgment is well-founded and widely shared. Nobody's defending unreadable gray-on-color text. But if a rule fights your actual brand, the honest move is to override it deliberately rather than assume the tool is always right. It's a strong default, not a law. And 4. It's a third-party skill with scripts and hooks installed into your agent in your project. Same discipline we always recommend. Read the skill file, look at what the scripts do, check the license, Apache 2.0 here, and prefer installing from the official repository rather than a mirror. 2 minutes of reading every time. Step back, and there's something bigger going on than one design tool. As AI makes it trivially easy to produce working software stops being the differentiator. Everyone's app functions. Everyone's landing page loads. What separates one from another becomes the thing that was always hardest to automate. Judgment, restraint, coherence, taste. And the interesting move Impeccable makes is refusing to accept that taste is unteachable. It breaks it down into vocabulary, references, detectable anti-patterns, and a decision process, and hands the whole thing to the machine as a skill. That's a genuinely optimistic idea. Not AI will never have taste, but taste is a set of nameable decisions, and nameable things can be written down. We've watched that same pattern all month. Knowledge into folders, procedures into skills, and now aesthetics into a design language. The stuff we assumed was ineffable keeps turning out to be documentable. So here's my question, and I'll pin it below. What's the AI slop tell that drives you most crazy? For me, it's the rounded square icon tile above every single heading. Once you notice it, it's everywhere. Name yours in the comments. I want to see how long a list this community can build because I suspect the next version of tools like this gets written from exactly that kind of list. Every link, the repository, the CLI, the install commands, and the license is in the description, so you can run the detector on your own project tonight. That's the standard on this channel, the real explanation, sourced in plain English. If you'd rather own your tools than rent them, subscribe. That's what we do here every single day. I'll see you in the next one.